So the few things I want to talk about, treat meal, super excited about that. If you weren't able to get it, don't worry about it. I think it's easy to get FOMO, fear of missing out, when everyone says they're buying it, when if maybe you don't have the funds or it just doesn't make sense for you financially right now, like don't worry about it. I know I used to be in that place sometimes where I thought like, oh, if I don't have the newest product, like I'm so behind everybody. They're not going to sell out. It'll be fine. But it's going to be something that you do want to get your hands on eventually. And I'm guessing like in the next month, probably in about a month is when you can use credits on that. But it's something that you can demonstrate physically to people, which is going to be super cool to show. Like, because I feel like when you're talking about the 3 steps, you can talk about how great you feel, and sure, people might be able to see a difference. But initially, it's not something that you can visually show to people. So that thing is going to be cool to be able to dump it in a glass of water, put in some cooking oil, and then open up the capsule on the top and be able to show how it like grabs all that fat and just drops it down together. So I'm super excited about that. I've been going through all of my previous messages where I've talked about if we've talked about weight loss and just mentioning it to them. So if weight loss is a priority of theirs, just talking about this is something, a tool you can put in your arsenal so you can have those cheat days so you don't feel like you're being left out if you are watching what you eat or if you're like on vacation or whatever that looks like. So I've been Googling that for sure. So the things that I did want to talk about, I wanted to talk about confidence and sampling. Let's start with sampling first because I feel like it has completely changed my business. There are times where I've like let off the gas on sampling and my numbers show. And I know there's at least 4 of us that have been, or I know for Sarah, I know Jen, you reached out to me the other day, and I know Claire reached out to me the other day with all new customers because they try to sample. One of my samplers messaged me the first day, probably like 2 hours after she started her product. And she was like, what is this magic? I have to pull up her message because it's so funny. I mean, of course, you're going to get like the few that aren't ready for it mentally in the bunch sometimes, but the majority of people are like blown away with how they can feel. She goes, girl, what is this miracle? I haven't felt this good in years. And she has 2 referrals already. So before she actually puts those referrals in, I'm going to have a conversation with her about, is this something you might want to potentially earn money from these 2 referrals, or are you just wanting to stick with the free product? Because she's like telling everyone. She said she was telling all of her friends and all that stuff. But then, so she's from Instagram. I brought her over to Facebook because that's how I get payment via Venmo, and Facebook Pay is what I do. And she was like, I will say, I am so thankful that you followed me on Instagram. I love getting messages like that. And I know, like, Jennifer said that she was feeling amazing. I know that, yeah, Claire's person is, like, super pumped, too. I think she's ordering for her and her husband. But 3-way messages, because her and I have been in a 3-way message with that person, are so crucial because it can help especially if they're sampling. I throw all of my samples in a message with Stephanie, whether she can answer them or not. Like, I just say, like, here's another contact in case I'm not available, because I am slammed at work right now. So Steph has been hopping in and answering questions for these people that are asking questions or whatever. But I sent 12 samples out the other day, and I will stand firmly by my Friday 2 p.m. post until the end of time. So tomorrow I will post a sample post at 2 p.m. If you are shying away from talking about samples or sending them out because you don't have any product on hand or enough, never let that deter you. Either I can send out samples for you. Jacqueline has more than enough product. I saw it downstairs in their house when we went there on Sunday. Or Steph or somebody will send them out for you. Like, don't shy away from sending out samples just because you don't have enough product personally on hand. We will be happy to do that for you anytime. So continue with the sample posts all the time. Continue with sample stories, because that is what is going to be the key to your business. Sample, 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 sample. Just get the products in people's hands. Let the products do the talking for you. Like, you literally, if you can get samples into people's hands, like 5 samples a week, like, your business will explode. And then it's like not even you having to be scared about, like, what am I going to post today? Like, as long as you're getting samples out, yeah, it's magic. And to go into that piece, I wanted to talk about confidence a little bit, because I was listening to a podcast, actually. Jennifer and I are doing a challenge with this group. It's like the best podcast. It's called The Virtual Upline. I listen to like every single episode that he puts out, and they're all like money. And he always leads from love, service, and growing. If you love people, if you're with service first and it's not about sales or getting money or whatever, he said your business will grow if you put those 2 things first, love and service. So I love that message, because that's what I believe in. I believe in serving the people that are in your community. I believe serving people with your story. I believe in loving on people where they're at, and what we have can love. We can show our love for people because they'll feel the best that they've ever felt, and we serve them through our great customer service. So I just think when you always put those things forward, the success will come. But he was talking about confidence, and as a previous person who never had any confidence, I can 100% back this statement that he said. He said, confidence is not something that you're just born with. It's something that you earn, or it's earned through belief in action. And that's so true. I always would tell myself, like, I don't have any confidence. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to mess up the message. You have to have the belief first in order for the confidence to come, and then the success will follow. So in our business too, it's all about believing in yourself before you see the results, because we're doing that, planting seeds, watering seeds, harvesting seeds constantly. And if you're wavering on your belief, like, you're going to get less consistent, and then somebody's going to miss your message, and then you could potentially miss out on somebody or changing their life because your confidence dips, because your belief dips when you're not seeing the results as quickly as you would like to. So in this, I think with anything, like weight loss, for example, you have to have the belief before you see the results, because you're going to like eat like way less food and be working out a ton, and you're not going to see instant results right away. So if you don't maintain that belief through the entire weight loss journey, like, you're going to give up, because like the scale isn't going to move some days, or the pounds are going to drop off, or you personally won't notice a difference, because 1, you're looking at your face in the mirror every day, but 2, sometimes you have slow periods, just like we have slow periods in this business. But if you don't maintain belief through those times when you're not seeing the results, you're just pushing off the results even farther by not staying in action. You've got to have confidence in your story. Your story is important. Your story is unlike anybody else's, and your story allows you to connect with people the way nobody else can. So like Jennifer's story can connect to somebody in her audience where I might not be able to. Or like Amanda's story might be able to connect to somebody in her audience, but I can't. Like, if I were to speak to that person, they might not relate to me. Like, your story is important. There's somebody on the other side that needs to hear what you're saying. Having confidence in your actions is so important. Because like the seed planting, like I said before, if you lose your belief and your confidence in the actions that you're doing, you're gonna find excuses. You're gonna find times when you're procrastinating. You're gonna find times when you're lying to yourself and you're saying, I am doing the things, but in reality, you're not doing as much as you know that you're capable of doing. Or you're like half-assing everything. Like, you're half-assing your stories, you're half-assing your message, you're half-assing like adding to your network, because you may be, and I've been guilty of this, you've gone like balls to the wall for like maybe a couple weeks or even a month where you've pushed really hard and you have done all the things, and then like a week or 2 weeks or a month comes and you're not seeing the results that you wish you saw yet, you lose belief. And then you're like, what's the point in this, trying in this anyways? But little do you know, on that extra side of resistance, that's where the breakthrough occurs. And I've heard that a million times, and I firmly believe in it myself. Confidence in the future that you're trying to reach, even though you can't see how it's possible yet. And this is where plugging into people that are where you want to be is so important, because you can see that vision before it's a reality for yourself. So like for me, there's a couple people that I follow because I like how they do their stuff. They're where I want to be within the company. And it's not to copy their stuff or anything like that. It's simply to like watch how they're talking, watch what they're saying, watch what they have, and then borrow their belief. If you don't have the confidence in your future yet, like borrow their belief, because they have gotten there, so can you. And so if you don't have somebody that you're following that's a mentor, like maybe somebody that like you just vibe with, that is whatever rank that you wish to be, follow them. Don't copy necessarily their content, but just see how they carry themselves. See like how are they working their business every single day, and then emulate their work ethic. Courtney Glazer is somebody that I really admire, because I feel like she came from like a corporate job, and I can relate to that because I was in that world. But she said like, don't copy my content, copy my work ethic. And that was something that really stuck with me, because I think so many people think, oh, their posts are so great, and like the way that they say things is so amazing, so they'll just copy what that person says. But if you're not putting the work behind it, that copied message is going to do nothing for you. You don't know what she does on the back end. I mean, I do. I know what she does. She adds to her network daily. She's in Messenger daily talking to people. She's helping her team. But if you're not doing those same actions, like you can copy and post her posts all day long, and you're not going to see the same results. And then guess what? You lose belief. What is she doing that I'm not doing? Because you're copying her content as opposed to her work ethic. So find someone that you want to be your mentor. I would even say like outside of even our team, because I feel like when you're so close to people on the team, like you know them personally, maybe you've had a conversation with them, that's how you can get caught in the comparison game. I know that's for me personally. There are tons of amazing leaders on our team that I admire a lot, but I know like if I worked out before I did this, and that was a horrible idea because I'm like sweaty. Anyways, I will find that I'll start comparing myself to them, because I know maybe we started around the same time, or I've met them personally, and I'm like, why aren't I as far? Like if you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody that's supposed to be a mentor, that might not be somebody you want to follow, because comparison's the thief of joy and it will kill your business. So find somebody that inspires you without making you feel bad, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the long and short of what I wanted to talk about today. Does anybody have any, I know it's been a while since we've gotten together. Does there anybody have any questions about anything or anything like that? No. Yeah. Sometimes you have to borrow the belief if you can't see it, especially if you've never done this business before, like me. Like I've never done this business before. When I first started, Steph screenshotted her paychecks to me and sent them to me. And that was the belief I needed to even get started and just start believing in myself and saying I'm just going to go for it when I didn't have any idea what I was doing. And then talking to people like Lisa and Chastity when I was in Nashville, I've talked to them a couple of times because I've had the opportunity to go to a couple different things where I've seen them Thrive Palooza and stuff like that. But when you hear and you see that they're people just like you, with crappy backgrounds just like you, with starting off with no knowledge just like you, and they make the money that they make, or they have the success that they have, you start to believe if they can do it, so can I. So we did this exercise when we were in Nashville where everyone wrote down like what's one weird, crazy fact about you, and then read them off, and we had to try to guess like who was who. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, so like Katie, I don't directly impact her paycheck. She doesn't directly impact my paycheck. I can vent to her if I'm having a bad day because I would never vent to you guys. Just saying. They always say vent up or side, but not down. But I can vent to her if I feel like she's honest with me. If I'm like down on myself, she's like, get the F up. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Like, knock it off. You need somebody in your corner that's going to have your back like that, that's not monetarily involved in your business. So, like, you don't have an impact or they don't have an impact on your paycheck because they'll shoot it to you straight, if that makes, you know what I mean? So, but in Nashville, then we had to try to guess who everybody was, and we wrote all these things down. But it was crazy hearing some things from certain people and not realizing like that's the walk of life they came from. And you start to realize that's why like hopping on these like group Zooms are so important, because you can hear these different stories of these people that are no different than you and I, and they've made this thing work, especially Tuesday at noon. Those Zooms are the best. But there were some people that were like, had homeless, they lost their cars, like repossessed vehicles, abusive relationships, issues with drugs, like so many different walks of life that were successful. And I was like, what is my excuse? Like, why? They were homeless and they made this work. Like, what is my excuse? That I'm tired because my kids are being assholes? Like, no. You can see through your own BS when you hear other people's stories that have been through worse than you have. So that's another reason why I think it's so important to find some people that maybe have a similar walk or even worse walk and have made things work. So, yeah. Anything else? I don't want to keep you guys too long. And my throat is like dry as the Sahara right now. Nothing? I'm going to stop recording.